welcome to T.O.L Studios, and today we're going to look at a simple basic concept to drum playing. This applies to any type of style of music, as far as, whether it's rock, blues, country, go on, but any type of music. And it's a simple concept that you learn one simple beat, get the understanding of your hi-hat, snare, and your kick drum, and you just simply learn to take something and slightly change it, and it creates another drum beat. So I'm going to kind of demonstrate that today. We're not going to worry about using the toms. I'm going to keep this really simple, like I said, hi-hat, snare, and drum. So we can go over those. We can always come in with the crash, the ride, all the fun things a little bit later as a separate lesson. Okay, so basically I'm also going to, on the hi-hat, every example I'm showing today are just simply quarter notes, meaning we're keeping those nice and even. Okay, tempo would be how fast you play those, whether I'm going or, which most of us want to play fast, but I'll be teaching things slow so you can get the idea, and then that's what we practice for, to work on playing at different speeds. So hi-hats will stay consistent. So the first drum pattern I'm going to show today, you're going to take the kick drum, and you're simply just alternating between the two, between the kick and the snare. So those by themselves would sound like, and you're just alternating those over and over. As you play, you want to try to keep repeating what you're doing, because again, the more you do it, the better you're going to get. Also, when you think about it, when a drummer's playing, you're playing for at least 3 to 4 minutes, so you need to build up endurance. Okay, so if we put the hi-hat with that, and this is how example 1's going to go. I'll count it, even though I know some people don't like to count. Bear with me, you should learn how to count. I will also substitute the counting by saying the pattern of the kick and the snare as well to help you out. So, counting this exercise, example 1, you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare. So that would be example 1. Now again, everything I'm going to show, I'm going to keep those hi-hats doing the same thing. I realize sometimes when you do different patterns with the kick and the snare, it's going to throw that off. Again, that's what practice is for. That's why I'm going with some simple concepts to help you get that coordination down. So example 2, we're going to do the same thing. The only difference is at the beginning of it, we're going to go ahead and do 2 kicks that are quicker. Or what I'm trying to say is, if we were just going kick, snare, we're going to stick an extra kick before that snare. But you're still hitting the hi-hat with the first kick. So that's like me going kick, kick, snare. But then I'm going to go back to the other thing I was doing. So originally we had kick, snare, kick, snare. Now we're going to be going kick, kick, snare, kick, snare. What you're basically doing is those are 8th notes on the kick drum now. For those of you, again, that aren't wanting to count, you can tell they're faster. That's what an 8th note is. It's quicker than the quarter note. Or example 1, I had you going. Those were quarter notes. Now you're doing 2 8ths. And right back to your quarter notes on the snare and that last kick there with the hi-hat. And again, I'll count here in a second. So that'd be going 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Kick, kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, kick, snare. Now, example 3, we're going to do the same thing, change it a little bit, but we're going to take the new thing that we learned with the quicker kicks, we're going to put it on the second half of what we're doing. So we're going to go back to the quarter notes like example 1 at the beginning, kick, snare, but now we're going to go kick, kick, snare. So example 3 again would be 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or 1, 2, kick, kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, counting in 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, you notice I'm not trying to do these fast yet because obviously I want to teach you slow, but every drummer should practice these slow, then at a medium tempo, and work your way up to fast. Some songs are quick, some are slow, some are in the middle. Drummer needs to be consistent. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take the quick kick drums, but we're going to put them in both spots. So now you're going to turn around and you're doing the 8th notes on the kick at the beginning, like we did in example 2. But we're also going to do it just like we did in example 3. So we're going kick, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare. If I'm counting it, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. With the hi-hat, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Kick, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare. So that gives us 4 examples based off, again, the simple concept of example 1 of going 1, 2, 3, 4, or kick, snare, kick, snare. Example 2 again, 1 and 2, 3, 4, or kick, kick, snare, kick, snare. Example 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4, or kick, snare, kick, kick, snare. Example 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, or kick, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare. Now for example 5, this get a little bit trickier. It's what we call kind of syncopation, where things don't line up exactly with what you're hearing on the hi-hat. Some of it will, some of it won't. And these can easily be mistaken for some of the examples I just showed you. It's real common sometimes to think, what I'm going to show you on one of these, you might actually think it's example 3, and it's all about the placement of where you put things. You're going to have some quicker kick drums, just like I showed you in the last few, but they're going to come in a different spot. And what I mean by that, the first part of this is going to be just like example 1, where you're going 1, 2, but in 1 we went 1, 2, 3, 4. What we're going to do for example 5 is you're going to go, I'm going to do this first part a few times before I finish the whole thing. You're going to go 1, 2, and 3. And then there's one more thing I'll show at the end of that, but what I did different there is I did do 2 quick kick drums, but I started those quicker ones right after I hit the snare drum. And that way, when I hit the second kick, it ended up where it normally goes. So I put 1 extra in there, and that's why it sounds quicker. Meaning example one would have been kick, snare, kick. For example 5, I'm having you go 1, 2, and 3. Or if I say that, kick, snare, kick, kick. Then you go snare. So example 5, and I'll do this over and over. You'll be going kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, kick. Okay, now I'm going to point something out here. It's real easy on that one sometimes to go kick, snare, kick, kick. You want again to try not to hit that extra. This again is keeping what I said, those straight quarter notes. So sometimes it's a lot of times honestly, it's easy to hit it where you don't want to. Okay, so you want to work on that section. So again, if I'm saying when you hit the snare with it, and then the kick comes right after it, it's going to sound like. Then you're going to come back and hit the kick. So it's hitting on that second kick in that section. So first one you do go kick, snare, kick, kick, snare. Kind of want to hold my stick up just to see that. If I was playing that normally, I wouldn't drastically do that. I'd just be kick, snare, kick, kick, snare. But don't be shocked if you don't want to pull a little bit, until it gets comfortable. And again, practicing over and over. So again, if I said that a couple ways, counting in with the kick snare. Counting it, it's 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Or I'm going kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare. Okay, example 6, I'm going to do the same kind of thing, but we're going to shift it to a different spot. But it's that same new feel that you just learned to do with the kick, which unfortunately if you're struggling with that one, you might struggle on this one too. But we're going to take that same kind of feel and just shift it to the back end. Meaning, again, if we were doing example 1, the first one, we had it going 1, 2, 3, oops, sorry about that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we turn around, example 5, the one I just taught you, was kick, snare, kick, kick, snare. Now we're going to turn around and we're going to put it at the back end, so it's going to sound like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. I'm going to stop and talk about that one. So if you look at example 1 to base this one off of, if we normally had 1, 2, 3, 4, it's exactly that pattern with me adding a kick right at the end. So if example 1 was 1, 2, 3, 4, then example 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So that's why when you heard the 2 quicker kicks again, I hit the first one without the hi-hat. On that second one, the hi-hat hits with it. And again, if I did example 1, the first one today, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. The one I'm showing you now, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Okay, and that gives you basically right there your 6 beats. Yes, we can do more, and then also drummers don't always play the same thing over and over. A lot of times you do, but then you can start taking things and maybe take example 1 and hook it to example 2 and play those over and over. We'll get more into that, but to give you an idea what I'm saying, if example 1 was kick, snare, kick, snare, and you do that over and over, and then back to example 2, if we had that one going, kick, snare, kick, snare. If I put those two together, you can go in any order. I'm just going to go 1 and then go to number 2, and then I'm going to go back to example 1 and then number 2. You could go 2 first, but I'll just go 1, then 2, and then keep repeating. You would end up having 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3. Then I'd repeat it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4. Example 1. Example 2, 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4. And that's why it's good to count. You can keep track where you're at, because sometimes if you're just playing, you can get lost and not realize if it's on the first count, the second count. Again, you can work on that too for those of you that don't count, but I strongly suggest that. So anyway, the possibilities, you can start adding more and more, and that's basically what you are doing within songs. So that's a quick look at some of the basic concepts of the drums. Obviously, if I'm saying you can move the kick around, I'll have some more videos come in that I'll show you can do the same thing with your snare drum. And then you got those combinations, and then you can start mixing the two, and there's that many more possibilities. So anyway, thank you for watching T.O.L Studios instruction videos, and look forward to helping you out here in the future.